When we think of cyber threats, only hackers and scammers come to mind. But the people hosting the internet and the websites we visit are just as much of a threat to our privacy. And no, I am not talking about malicious websites that you rarely stumble upon, such as ones on the dark web. No, I am talking about common everyday websites. Even your browser, i.e. Google, Facebook, and other social media, put you at risk. What I mean by this, many people tend to think Google is just there to help you search for things on the internet. While true, that's not the entire story. Google and many social media wouldn't be earning this much cash if that were the case. The primary route used to make a profit is by storing your data and selling patches to companies so they can give you ads, but behind your back they're doing something shady. Much of the information, personal or not, is being leaked and exploited for the company's own benefit. You are told you can control your privacy regulations by simply triggering a switch after going to settings and blocking/allowing certain features. Neither of those are actually going to protect you, however. Google can track your location even if you turn off location history. You just won't know it. If access to your IP, either way, nothing changes. All it does is make the display seem like your guidelines and restrictions are being obeyed, while in fact, the company is just a little more sneaky about it. Advertisers want to sell you ads and get you to buy stuff. After all, that's their job. They need your information to make a living. But the way they get this information, what they do with it, and the regulations for said information is just downright shady. Google sells your information to advertisers. It should be kept safe, but it could very much get in the wrong hands. Some people had their information exploited in incidents that could violate human rights laws. There's many shady things advertisers do. Certain advertisers give discounts. It seems normal until you realize they restrict certain races, nationalities, and religions from said discounts, which is very discriminatory. Thus, protecting your information can actually help you save money. These advertisers gather all this data from other than Uncle Google that provides them with this information like there's no user involved. Whenever you visit a site, the site installs this thing called a cookie. It sounds cute. They use cookie to seem more innocent because the majority of people never heard of that phrase. Cookies are trackers that slow down your connection. When a cookie is installed, it tracks every site you visit afterward. And many sites install cookies. These cookies gather info and data, which those websites then take to give to advertisers. Google completely allows it because they gain money from this process. Put this in perspective, Google has so much data about you at this point, in which Google's surveillance cameras could track your account by simply decoding your facial features. A great example of this is Google making a deal with the Chinese government. This transaction is super bizarre since China has completely different social media browser services, etc. than the US, and they censor many US companies. But they did it anyway, because those surveillance cameras help them. They're controlling government, and Google only gives them more control. Now that we've covered a small portion of the risks, how do you protect yourself from them? First, before anything, go to myactivity.google.com. Turn off everything and delete all your info. This is all stored. In some cases, it can be leaked and lead to a lifetime of issues. I highly suggest ad blockers. Ad blockers do two things. They make surfing the web more convenient and they stop pop-ups. But they can also stop malware and viruses, because a lot of malware and viruses come from clicking on an ad. And don't forget that Google is also a big threat in this situation. It has the lowest privacy of any other browser. I'd highly suggest you don't use the Google search engine. The second biggest privacy threat is Facebook. Not only is it garbage and only boomers use it, it installs many trackers slowing you down. It's also a great resource for hackers to use. Since Facebook has so much information about you, it can make it really easy to dox you if they find your account. I'd recommend forestalling usage of Facebook entirely, or at least install Facebook Container and extensions that block these trackers. So, you would want to use another browser other than Google. It's still okay to use Google services if you want, but at least not the engine. And you could use Mozilla's Firefox application, but preferably, I'd suggest you use Brave. If you want the most security and privacy possible, use Tor. It's extremely secure that you can go on dangerous dark web websites and still be safe, at least to an extent. Now, Tor works just like Google. However, due to all the encrypting it does, it could be a second or half a second slower. But it's worth it since you have the most freedom, and I'd suggest at least 50% of your internet activity to be on Tor. You can also just use Brave, however, for general purposes. It's actually faster than Google, and is the best thing for beginners, even me. Once again, stop using Facebook, and if you don't want to, connect to the European Union and use it because the European Union exclusively has GDPR, something no other location has, and it protects you. A VPN I'd suggest that's 100% free that you could use forever is Proton VPN. It's your best option out there. Speaking of browser extensions, there's a whole array dedicated to safety online. The best extensions you could possibly add for safety include DuckDuckGo that acts as an engine within another browser, such as Firefox, Brave, or even Google. It also doesn't slow your browser at all. If anything, it makes it faster. The second best is uBlock Origin, which can be hard to use, but in the description I'll put a tutorial I found that may help you. Privacy Badger, which is also very good. It's just like uBlock Origin, and I'd also suggest Decentralize. Gives you privacy without you even realizing it. You could get it on Chrome Store and Firefox Store. Brave uses Chrome Store and you can also get it there. The conclusion? Advertisers, social media, and Google are all privacy and security threats. Whether it's using Tor, Firefox, Brave, or maybe still using Google, there's an option to be a bit more safe and patch those leaks yourself. It's just up to you to decide, however. If you enjoyed the video, consider sharing the video with anyone that could get a use out of it, or press the like button and comment so hopefully I get the attention of the algorithm. Go ahead and read the description for more info. I barely scratched the surface of this entire topic of safety and privacy. There's a lot more. I just gave a simplified demonstration of it.